I'm the Drama Life Prison Wife. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and paints for justice, hoping to see justice before all face to black. Somebody in my background hits your girl Cadillac. Did she? What did she say? Is she mocking me?
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, today here I am, May the 4th, 2024. So 5424. Yes. Uh, Open that, I forgot. Okay, so guys, is she repeating me? It sounds like she said, open that, I forgot. Okay, so guys, I woke up this morning. Money. Y'all said y'all was gonna be quiet through me recording.
I'm not even talking. That's the baby.
Okay, so I have. So I'm gonna read this to you guys. This was really like when I read this morning, it actually just touched my heart. This goes to show you why we really need to care about those that are behind the walls, because you can easily become one of those behind the walls, right? And you would want someone to care about you. So this comes from one of my friends on TikTok. She shared this story with us, so I'm just gonna read it to you. Okay. Once person, I called her prison. Once princess. Okay, hold on, guys. I'll be back in a moment. Okay. What incident has traumatized you for good? Okay, so this is someone named Kristen Taggart, and she made this post. In 2013, at 26 years old, princess, let me read. Let me read, mommy. In 2013, at 26 years old, I was arrested and sent to Steuben County Jail in NYS. I was arrested after making the dumb mistake of driving without a driver's license and telling the officer that I didn't have my license on me and gave him my sister's name and birth date. I was charged with misdemeanor probation violation, with the original charge being criminal impersonation, and was in jail waiting to go to court. I had never been in any legal trouble before that abominably stupid idea to try to trick the officer out of giving me a ticket for driving without a license. About 4 weeks into my incarceration, I began to get severe headaches. It got so bad that I put in a request to go to medical to see the jail's physician assistant. After seeing her for the first time and describing the pain that I felt in my nose that spread to the top of my head, I was told that I was suffering from sinus infection. I accepted that and as a plausible explanation and took the antibiotics that were prescribed to me. A week a week went by and the pain was getting worse, not better. I again requested to go to medical and was again seen by a PA. I told her the pain was getting severe, that it had spread to the side of my face and the back side of my neck. I also asked to be taken to the hospital. The PA told me that she was not sending me to the hospital. Hospital visits were only reserved for emergencies, and she had concluded I had an impacted tooth. A day went by and I was in complete agony. I was unable to move my head even the slightest bit without feeling as if my entire head would explode. The pain was so bad that I couldn't eat, sleep, basically lay on my bunk, sobbing. I begged every CO on shift to help me. Different sergeants were called in to talk to me, and I begged them send me to the hospital, but was always refused. And about 9 days after my headache began, I developed double vision. I told the nurse that was handing out meds that I had constant double vision. I remember telling her, "There's two of you." I was instructed to put in a slip to request to go to medical. A few hours after the double vision began, I was talking to another inmate when went, "Oh my God, your eyes, they've shifted." I went into my cell and looked into the mirror and was horrified to see that I had gone cross eyed. I had been calling my mom every day, telling her that I knew something was very wrong with me. After seeing that I had gone cross eyed, I called my mom hysterically, told her I was cross eyed, and asked her to call the jail and see if she could persuade them to take me to the hospital. Everyone my mom called and spoke to on the phone or talked to in person at the jail assured her that I was getting adequate medical care. I requested to speak with the sergeant, and after about an hour, one showed up to talk to me. I showed him my eyes, told him my vision was double, told him I was in the worst pain of my life, and pleaded with him to send me to the hospital. I told him that I knew something was seriously wrong, that I knew if I wasn't treated soon, I would die. To which he said, "I didn't know you're a doctor. Go back to your cell. You can go to medical in the morning." The next morning, after about my 10th agonizing night, I discovered I could no longer walk. I felt absolutely helpless. I was sure that I was gravely ill and that the jail administration was just going to let me die in my cell, alone and scared. In complete agony, I was moved to the ground floor as a safety precaution and laid on my bunk, basically waiting to either become unconscious or die. The other inmates became involved, told staff that they had to help me, but they were met with deaf ears. About 2 hours later, I remember adjusting my head, and I immediately felt the pain in my head and neck that caused me to start screaming uncontrollably. It felt like my brain was too big for my head, like my head would explode. The sergeant on duty was called, and when he came to my cell, I recall saying, "Please, you have to help me. I'm a human being. I'm only 26 years old. Please don't let me die." I was overwhelmed with joy and gratitude when he replied, "Okay, get your shoes. We'll get you checked out." I sobbed uncontrollably and just kept thanking him. He had to keep his arm around me to help me walk up the hall. We got to the end of the hall and we stopped to open a door that let me in, and he let me in, I'm sorry. We entered a room with the desk, 2 cells, and a shower. He opened the cell door to one of the cells and set me down on a wooden bench. He left, shutting the door behind him, and I asked him, "When am I going to the hospital?" To which he replied, "You're not. We can't have you screaming like that, bothering everyone on the unit. You are staying on constant watch until you can grow up." Hold on, guys. Hand going on. We almost halfway through it. I was absolutely devastated. I was being held in the cells they used to watch people idle. Suicidal. I didn't say that. YouTube. Suicidal. I was put in a cell. The desk was moved right in front of it, and a guard was placed at the desk to watch me. Why he told me he was going to go to that I was going to go to the hospital, I don't know. I've never felt more let down in my entire life. That whole night, I laid in the cell sobbing. I remember singing songs to try to distract myself from the pain. I screamed a lot. I begged the guard to help me, but didn't even get a response. She just sat at her desk, ignoring me. I started vomiting uncontrollably, which made the pain in my head and neck even worse. That was the worst night of my entire life. In the morning, the PA came in along with the sergeant and told her that I couldn't walk, I couldn't see, and was in the worst pain of my life. I again, for the 100th time, begged and pleaded to go to the hospital. Again, reminded them that I am a human being and that I would surely be dead. She looked at me for a minute and said, "Take her back to her cell. All this is her own fault." I began crying and screaming, feeling like the torture and pain was enduring didn't even matter to them. That to them, I was just a criminal, lower than a dog. The sergeant said to me, "It's obvious that you can't be in much pain. You're screaming." I couldn't scream like that if my head hurt. I'd continue to scream and cry. A different sergeant, hold on, I'm trying to find my place. Okay, lower than a dog. The sergeant says to me, "It's obvious that you can't be in that much pain if you're screaming." I couldn't scream like that if my head hurt. I continued to scream and cry. A different sergeant came in to talk to me. I said to her, "Please, I'm dying. Please take me to the hospital." She stood there for a minute, then said the greatest sentence of my life. "Okay, we'll get you looked at." At the hospital, I was given an MRI and a CAT scan that showed nothing. Then I was given a spinal tap. The doctor told me that my spinal fluid shot out like a geyser. Tests confirmed that I have fungal spinal meningitis. I was told if the jail waited even 12 hours longer, I would have most certainly died. My mother was able to get my judge to release me on my own recognizance so that my family could be with me while I recovered. And so I didn't have to be chained to my hospital bed, being guarded by a correctional officer. After 10 spinal taps to get the pressure off my brain and my spinal cord, lots of heavy duty pain and antifungal meds, I recovered. I had double vision for a long time, along with trouble walking, but I did make a full recovery eventually. However, I never recovered mentally from my 11 days of hell. My mother was, okay. I lost faith in humanity after that. All these people working at the jail stood by and let me suffer. I was tortured. Trained medical staff didn't nothing to help. Even when it was completely obvious that something was seriously wrong with me. In their eyes, I was just a good for nothing criminal. I broke the law, so I deserved what I was getting. A few months later, I decided I wanted to sue the jail. Every prisoner has the right to get adequate medical care. My human rights were violated. I wanted them to pay. Well, come to find out, NYS gives you 90 days to file a lawsuit against the county, something I was unaware of. I couldn't even sue. I am still plagued with horrible claustrophobia, PTSD, and nightmares. I am traumatized and don't know if I will ever fully recover. Thank you for reading. I apologize for the length and many errors. Wow. Now that story is crazy. And it goes to show you how they don't see them as human. Now, this girl probably would have been, upon going to her court sentence, most likely they wouldn't have gave her hardly any time, if not just probation or something slight. But because she was in jail, they don't care about your sentence, your charges. They're not thinking about that. They're thinking you broke the law, you're in jail, so you're no longer human. And you should be subjected to whatever happens to you. It's good for you. You deserve it because you shouldn't have did what you did. But do you see a small mistake any small mistake. She knew what she was doing wrong, but she was just trying to get out of a ticket. Not to say that you should be doing that, but something like that, is that supposed to cost her life? You would not be sentenced to for trying to evade a ticket. You wouldn't be sentenced to that. So they took it upon themselves to sentence her to by doing that, right? So you're not the judge. The judge has already spoke whether he was fair or not fair, but they're already getting punished in there. I don't understand why we have to add to their punishment. All right, so I'm gonna go. My granddaughter is kind of anxious back in the back. Y'all heard all of that throughout this. Now she quiet as on the wood, so I could probably read it over. Y'all want to do that? All right, guys. Here's your girl Cadillac.